Welcome to Hillside Farm. My name is Ruth McKinney, and we are so excited that you're going to be joining us for a holiday series. I mean, that's the time of year, right? You've got Thanksgiving, but we've also got Christmas, New Year's, and all the build up, lead up, anticipation, and finally the celebration. So I asked my husband, Bob, to be here for a couple of these episodes because I thought it would be fun. You know, so much of my focus in Hungry for Home in our book has to do with creating a family culture. And part of that, the big part of that, is what are your family traditions? So I invited Bob because he has been really instrumental in doing that. I didn't do it, all by myself. And I want to encourage you if you've not yet set traditions, or, it's always a work in progress. It can always be changing, but it's important to have these. Growing up for me, my family moved almost yearly to every other year most of my life, multiple states. So the one thing that was what's the word I'm looking for, Bob? It was formative for me, and it gave me kind
Your
of
your
a
home was your rock because your where your home was not.
right place was not, but our family was. So the family traditions is what kind of held things grounded and tight for me. So when we got married, we kind of sat down together and talked to each other about what were your family traditions growing up? What were mine? And did you value any of them? Are there some that we want to start? Bob didn't grow, I don't want to speak for you, but family traditions, he didn't have a lot.
Well, there was, but there wasn't anything that they stuck out that
Stuck up.
stuck out to something that you would want to replicate. It's
Okay.
like so. A lot of it is you and I coming together, saying, "Hey, what do we want to do with our kids?"
Mhm.
When it comes around the holiday season, to
So that's what we're here to do, is to tell you what we do basically from the day after Thanksgiving up until Christmas Day. So here we go. The day after Thanksgiving, we do a couple of things. Number one, we wrap the doors that lead into our dining room. We've got two doors that go into our dining room, and Bob helps me wrap them like they're a Christmas present. From that day forward, nobody in our house is allowed into the dining room.
and the kids are always just wondering what's behind the
What's
door.
behind the door? It
And
just builds anticipation. What do we
well,
do in the room?
well, what's great is that we wrap in the room, and we before we started that tradition, Ruth and I were wrapping gifts in our in the apartment above our kitchen, and then on Christmas morning we were always
Lugging it all
lugging
down
all these
there.
gifts down the steps all the way out to where the tree was, and then we came up with this idea of, hey, the dining room is right next to where the tree is. Let's wrap those doors. So then it's a big enough room, great place to wrap, great place to store presents, and but the kids
Love
know something's going on behind that
behind the
door
doors.
and they're super excited about it.
Mhm.
And but mom and dad are spending time in there and they just aren't allowed in.
They're not allowed in. So that's what we start the day after Thanksgiving when we put our Christmas tree up in the house. Next thing we have is this Jesse Advent tree. I have cousins who sent us probably one of our most special gifts. The day after Thanksgiving, their family has their own tradition. They send one family a year something called a Jesse Advent tree that comes with this book. Um, and what they do as a family is they make these ornaments. So we bought this tree. I think I might have gotten it at Pottery Barn. So many of those stores have that. Stores have that. We got this. It sits on my island. And from the first day of December until Christmas, you follow along with the story of the Advent, and it has a different ornament for every day that they handmade as a family. So I would say this is one of our most special gifts. And it's just exciting to continue to read it and why you're celebrating the entire season. Each day it has a different, little thing to read each day. What's
Like this
that
is
one?
one, this is the
No,
promise of this is
Noah's
Noah's
Ark.
Ark.
So it literally something different every day. So that's another tradition. Then, as we get even closer to Christmas, um, my family for generations has made something called almond rocca. It's like an English toffee. And each person kind of in the family has their own little take on it, whether they use dark chocolate, light chocolate, or milk chocolate, a mix of chocolate, or some use whole almonds, some use slivered. And it's just a gift that Bob and I started when we got married. we began making almond rocca before Christmas, and that is something that we handed out as gifts. You know, when you go to your parties and you have to take a hostess gift, we take a bag of our almond rocca, and now we take a bag with one of my books called Hungry for Home. But so we do that. So Bob and I, it takes us how many hours to
It's
do?
about 2 to 3 hours,
Yeah,
because we do about 10 batches. So each
yeah.
batch takes about 10, 15 minutes, but
But
doesn't
that's something
seem,
he and I do together.
yeah, it's something that's great we do together. And it's something the kids, when they're home, they'll come into the kitchen, but it's a two-man operation. So it's,
It is a two-man operation.
yeah, so they,
And we have it down to like a science. So we'll be doing a different episode just showing you that, but that is probably one of our favorite things to do
yes,
together.
yes.
The next tradition that we do, that we started when we first got married, my great aunt made these cinnamon rolls, sweet rolls. And Bob and I decided when we got married, we wanted to make large batches and on Christmas Eve deliver them to different people. So we make about 400. And what is really nice is we freeze the dough, the made cinnamon rolls ahead of time. We freeze, I mean, so we do 400, freeze these in the freezer, and on Christmas Eve, our whole family goes.
We all usually, when she says 400 rolls, they're in usually batches of 24 or 12. So say we have 16 pans of sweet rolls, and we load up our sprinter van, and all the kids are in the van, and we have our list of families that we go and drop sweet rolls off. And it's kind of like we are the Santa. We are giving the gift of
A Christmas tradition for
tradition for
somebody
somebody
else.
else. And we
Mhm.
literally drive all over the area for probably 2, 3 hours
Hours, yeah.
and go to each house, and we drop off the sweet rolls with instructions on what to do with the sweet rolls, be it
Along with a jar of
heavy
heavy
whipping
whipping
cream.
cream that you have to pour into it. But it's so much fun for the kids. They get to take part in it because they take part in choosing what families are we going to give to this year. And we've had families call us and say, "Are we still on your list?" So it's really a special, I don't know, Christmas is about other people. And so that's our way, I think, of giving other families the opportunity to,
That's
yeah,
usually that is us, is the whole giving to others. That's where go back to the room and
mhm.
wrapping the door. It's you and I, how we just love to give. And so having that anticipation of what the kids are going to be receiving is fun, and then the sweet rolls is and the almond roca, just great ways to
Yeah.
just to us serving to create something to give to others so they can enjoy it.
And it's so fun because those sweet rolls, they rise overnight and those families get to bake them on Christmas morning. So that's what we do Christmas Eve. After we finish delivering, we come back. And because I don't have time now at this point to make a big meal, we always pick up Chinese food. And I've set the table, but I set it with our best china. We like to pretend that it's a really fancy dinner. And we come back, we have Chinese dinner, and then everyone, originally, it was just us and our 5 kids, but now we have in laws, but everyone gets all their sleeping bags, blankets, whatever. We come to the living room, and everyone sleeps on the floor, couches, chairs, wherever you can find it. And we watch White Christmas.
Yes, and it was even when the kids were young, Ruth and I would also put down blankets and fall asleep because the kids wanted mom and dad to sleep in the room with them. And obviously over time, the kids are getting bigger and bigger, and so
Well,
we all
we
don't
still,
fit. We don't all
well,
fit in the living room.
we still
We still lay
lay
down.
there until they are asleep, and at that point we go and we get all the gifts out and put them out, and then we get in our own bed because they deliver coffee for us in the morning. But they love it because there's also one of our very dear family friends for basic, I want to say 24 years now, has sent Christmas gifts to every one of the children. And we put those gifts, she always sends them ahead of time, and we put those on the end of wherever they're sleeping. So the first thing they get when they wake up on Christmas morning is Aunt Kimmy's Christmas gift.
Well,
And
before that,
yeah,
though, is on
oh,
Christmas Eve, one of the
Christmas Eve, we
fun
didn't
things we
talk
do
about that.
is we have a pickle. It's a German tradition that we.
We're not German.
No,
Yeah, go ahead. But we liked it.
we liked it. And so you hide this pickle, and the pickle is the same color as your
Tree.
Christmas tree.
Hmm.
And so when we decorate the tree. I hang the pickle someplace where everybody sees it, so everybody knows it's on the tree in
Mhm.
anticipation of, okay, Christmas Eve it's going to disappear. And so
Mhm.
everybody leaves the room, and Dad spends a half hour. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe 5 minutes in hiding it in the most
Mhm.
like in a place where nobody can find it. But depending on the height of the children, back in the day, we'd make sure it was no higher than the um,
Youngest.
the youngest or shortest kid. And now it's anywhere on the tree is fair game. And the kids search sometimes 5 minutes and sometimes 10, 15 minutes. But whoever finds the pickle is the person who gets to open up the family gift. And so every year,
So we
um,
have a family gift on Christmas Eve. It's a box that I've wrapped, and in that box are 3 to 4 different things. The first thing we have taken that year, you take your family photos that year and you might have your favorite. And I always make our favorite into a puzzle. So take this. One year we were at Iceberg Lake up in Glacier, and we had swum out to one of the glaciers. So I made a puzzle on that. But we do that every year. So we have a puzzle for every single year. And the kids and Bob, I'm not a big puzzle person, but he is, work on those during the holiday season. And also in the box is a one pair of socks for everybody. It can be a Christmas sock, it can be anything. So it's a sock. Next, what we have is the game of the year. We're big gamers. We love games, board games, card games. So there's a game. And lastly, because we have read out loud as a family, is that year's book. So it's fun that in that Christmas Eve, there's something that we all get to open and start to enjoy.
yeah, and it's always excitement for the kids because they're
Yeah.
looking forward to it. So going after the pickle is, I mean, there's sometimes it's, get out of
Yes.
my way. I
Get
think
out
I
of
know
my
where it
way.
is.
Back down. And then we do the Aunt Kimmy gift Christmas morning. We also had this manger scene, and there's a baby Jesus in the manger scene. And on Christmas morning, Bob hides baby Jesus.
Because
Mhm.
he's
He's to
he,
be
wa-
found.
he's to be found. It's just so,
Mhm.
and baby Jesus can be hidden anywhere on the
Anywhere
first floor.
on the first floor.
And we've done creative things, such he's been in a bowl of M&Ms with just his hand hanging, just
Yeah.
sticking out of the bowl of M&Ms, or in
Mhm.
a flower pot in the dirt, barely being seen. But some portion of it has to be visual. So the
Mhm.
kids will search. Sometimes that's a half hour, but actually, you and I usually get up and we start preparing breakfast or
I
something like
know.
that
Yeah.
while the kids are scrambling around. But whoever finds baby Jesus then opens up the gift, the first gift of the
First
day.
gift of the day.
And what's
Mhm.
significant of that is one thing we do as a family is we are intentional about each gift. So when our kids, even at a young age, they would get there and get excited, and they'd all be looking at their gifts that's there in front of them. We let them open up their stockings, and they all,
Tear
rummage,
open a
rummage,
stocking.
tear open the
Mhm.
stockings and see what's in there. But when it comes to gifts, we want everybody to watch and be intentional with it.
Mhm.
And the process does take a long time. It's not 15 minutes and all of a sudden Christmas is
I
over.
think that was the difference when we got married. Because I went to your house for Christmas, and I think you guys opened all at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, all at the same time. And I was like, what just happened? And then it was over.
Uh,
Whereas my dad made like we watch this person and then we go to the
yeah.
next
And
person.
even before that, even after we do stockings, and that first person is still very excited because they're number one, they open up the first gift. I'll take time and we open up and I'll read from the Bible the story of Jesus, the
Mhm.
story of his birth, and so we're all around the family just listening intently and just having quiet time together. But even as we open up the gift, each person opens it up individually. Everybody watches. Everybody then is able to enjoy what that person gets. And then the next person's super excited. Is it my turn? Is it my turn? And we go around the room in age order, and they every until an
Until it's
hour,
done.
however long it takes to go through the process.
And I would say the final thing that we do is we have each of our kids write each other letters. So they each write 5 letters, and actually they've started writing. They write to us as well. But what they love about their sibling and why um, their sibling is so special to them. So that's been a really sweet, I think, thing we added.
Yeah, one thing that we've done since our kids were really young is we going along with a picture of the year. We always got an ornament
Oh, yeah,
that
correct.
was from our favorite trip of the year. if we went to Switzerland, or if we went to Iceberg Lake, or if we went on a camping
Camping
trip,
trip.
or wherever we were, we got an ornament. So the one year we were on a camping trip, so we got little ornaments that was a moose or an elk or something that we may have saw when we were there. And on Christmas, we that's a gift each one of our kids get. And so if you can imagine, every year they're getting an ornament kind of for them to have a memory of the previous year's
Mhm.
great trip. But now you fast forward, and now you've had 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and our daughters now are both have been
Well, we have
married.
2 married, right.
Yeah. And but so Alex, when she got married, her first Christmas, we literally handed her 20 ornaments of all the years that were hers. And
Mhm.
so we launched her into her first Christmas tree of not having a tree with no ornaments that meant nothing. It was now all of a sudden she has all this
But
meaning that she can
each
take with
each
her.
ornament has significance,
Oh yeah.
for a particular year. So, anyway, we hope all of these things are an encouragement to you. And again, it's not about necessarily doing what we've done. It's doing what would be best for your family, what encourages family culture for your family. And yeah, just be creative. Talk to your spouse, talk to your kids, and think, what do we want to do different this year? What do we want to add to what we do? And how can we celebrate each other and other people this holiday season?
And a lot of these traditions just come by chance of
Mhm.
sometimes solving a problem. I'll go back to wrapping the door again, going, it was such a pain dragging all those presents down
Yeah.
those steps. And we thought, hey, why don't we do it in the dining room and wrap the doors? Wow, that's a tradition.
Hmm.
So it's not something that has to start right when the kids are young. You could actually start now, no matter what age the kids are, and start a different tradition that might be just
Hmm.
something you think about.
Yeah.
And it's great.
So thanks for joining us. And remember to watch Hungry for Home on Instagram, where I have these little tips each week during the year. Have a great day.